Hi, everybody. This is Mr. Vance. So, today I want to talk about the election from a historical perspective. And I'm going to particularly talk about why this was a really big deal, and definitely why sort of historically minded people, people who teach history or study history, um, and governments and politics and those sorts of things, why we tend to be really unsettled and afraid of what has unfolded here. Okay? So, to do this, we're going to really focus on just one thing, which is democracy. Okay? Now, I know democracy is kind of this abstract thing. It's a word that's thrown around a lot, to the point where it's almost like a bad buzzword. It's almost like it's lost its meaning in some ways. So let's instead not use that, and instead just use the term the ability to have a say in your government and who rules you. Okay? The ability to have a say. Not a choice, just a say. Given that it should be a meaningful say. But yeah, the ability to have a say over, your kind of political life and who's in charge. Okay? So the United States, for all its flaws, and there are many, was the first modern country to become one of these countries that really gave you a say. Again, it was a democracy, but to give you its people a say in their lives. Before the United States, again, there were small democracies and democratic attempts throughout history, but the overwhelming majority of human history has been countries that have been dominated by some sort of king or queen or just totalitarian ruler. They might have some people around them that help give them ideas about what to do, but ultimately what they say goes. And a lot of time that power was absolute. If they just wanted somebody dead, they could snap their fingers or point at somebody, and there would be that person's death within the next day if they really wanted it to be that way. When the American colonists, separated from England, they had conflicting reasons, and there's definitely some conflicting reasons, and not all of them were even, frankly, good-hearted, but deep, regardless of that. Inside all of that was a really good idea, which was that we should have a say in how we live our lives. We should be able to determine our own future. That's the self-determination, right? I should be able to determine who tells me what to do, even if it's only just like a medium amount. A medium amount is not maybe perfect, but it's better than no amount, which was all of human history up until that point. So, you get to 1789, George Washington is the first acting president. I believe it's about 1789. It's when the U.S. really formally became a country. Up until then, the 1776 thing, that was just sort of that's just when they said we're on our own. They hadn't formally figured everything out. But regardless, Washington becomes president, and he does the most insane thing for that time period, which is, he could have more or less been a king, and he knew that a democracy, to have your say, meant that people needed to get to vote on who was in charge. And he willingly gave up power. About 8 years in, he says, all right, I'm going to go back to my farm. I'm going to go be a citizen. Somebody else can be in charge. And that set in motion democracy, the ability to choose. The fact that he willingly gave up power and said, yep, after this, I'm going to be just like everybody else. That tradition has continued and actually gotten better, right? Because, right, the beginning of the United States was not perfect at that. Not everybody had a say. If you were a woman or a poor white man or a black person at all, or any non-white landowning person, right? You had no say. So we've only gotten better at that and given more and more people a say, more and more and more. And people who have been in power have willingly given it up time and time and time and time again. Donald Trump is the first person, the first president in U.S. history who, at least openly, has not promised that he is going to give up power. Not only is that his words, but that was the point of January 6th, to say that what the voters, what the people of the U.S. said when they didn't want him to be president anymore, that was not something that he was going to settle for. Okay. So, is this ability to have a choice perfect? No. Does everything go exactly as you want? No. Has it gone everything as the way as I wanted? Not even close. But what mattered is that you had a say. And this is the first person to suggest that and try to basically take that choice away from you and from me and from everybody else in this country. And with that, many other things that we have historically taken for granted. Not only that we've taken for granted, but that has set an example for the entire world. A lot of Americans don't realize just how much other countries look to us when something bad goes in the world. We really have been the leaders of the world, for better or worse. But one of the reasons we've been that is because we, at least theoretically, were this shining beacon of a place where people could choose their lives to some extent or another. With this election, not only are we not promised that, but the world has taken notice. And it's not clear that the United States is really going to be as trusted going forward. That is what terrifies myself as a social studies, and history teacher, and what terrifies most of us who study history. That, the bad things are going to happen in presidencies. Mistakes will be made. But there's always been a guarantee that, as rough as the 4 or 8 years were, that there was going to be a chance to change it. And this time, it's not clear that we're going to get to have that anymore. I'll leave you with one small anecdote here. So, what most people might not realize is that, throughout Russia's rocky history, there was a brief period where, in the 90s, where it really was trying its best, and at least some people were trying in Russia, and its best to be a real liberal democracy. Liberal in small l, as in not like political party, but liberal as in free. Just a free democracy where people could, have a choice. Once Putin got into power, that was it. Many people casting their vote for Putin, or at least Putin's party, it's a little bit different over there, but when they cast their vote, that was the last free vote that they cast, and none of them knew it. When you cast your last vote for freedom, or your last free vote, rather, you don't know that it's your last free vote any more than the people in the Titan submersible knew that that was going to be their last trip to the bottom of the ocean, or their last breaths alive. So, hang in there. I know this is a dark time for many. I hope that this helped make things a little bit clear for some people. Be civil in the comments. I'm not going to talk about any other political things here. That might be for another day or for other people. This was just this one single way to look at things. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.